Hey everyone, it's me, Erika Genevieve, aka Teacher Erika. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all things online ESL teaching related, sprinkled with a little bit of mommy life. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys about props. What are props and how do you use them in the online ESL classroom? I will go over the props that I used when I first had my online ESL interview. I will go over the 3 different types of props that there are for the classroom and what my most favorite props are to use in the classroom. I will also be telling you what I think, in my opinion, are the most useful props to use in the online ESL classroom. So if you are interested in learning more about props, keep watching. When I first had an online ESL teaching interview, I had it with VIPKID. They provided me with all the materials that I needed to prep for the interview, but I didn't have any props, and I knew that I needed props. From what I remember, they required to have 2 types of props. I will go over the different types of props that you need for the classroom, but for now, just keep in mind it was 2 different types of props. I didn't have flashcards that were useful because I taught 2nd grade in a brick and mortar school. I didn't have alphabet flashcards, which is what you usually need to teach English online. So I decided to make my own flashcards, and I didn't even do this with a computer. I did it with a sheet of colored paper and a marker. I made myself a letter because we were covering the letter P, and make sure that if you are doing this, you are writing the big and the small letter, and it's small letter, not little letter, hint. And I also wrote the word that we were covering. So this was it. These were my flashcards, and flashcards are super necessary in the online ESL classroom. So if you don't have any yet, know that you can make them on hand. You do not need to buy anything. I also didn't have a whiteboard. I had no whiteboard because at the end of my last year of teaching, I threw them all away. Why? Because my 2nd graders destroyed them. But anyways, I had a dry erase pocket. This is what a dry erase pocket looks like. So if you haven't seen it before, it looks like this, and it's just a clear pocket where you can stick papers inside and you can use a dry erase marker. I don't have it to show you because I threw it away. So smart. Anyways, what I did for that was I printed out the letter P on there as well in dashed form. You can find that font anywhere online. I highly recommend dafont.com. This is what the website is. They have that there if you are interested in downloading that type of font. So I printed a paper with a big and a small P, and I stuck it in there. And that was my whiteboard. I was able to hold it up and trace it with a dry erase marker to show the student how to draw the letter P. Okay, so again, I spent no money on this. This was all free. This was all things that I did to prepare. And I also didn't go crazy preparing a ton of stuff either. And then finally, I had to show Panda, and this is what I had on hand. Again, it is a towel. It is a towel that I had for my son that I got from the Dollar Tree. This was another prop that I used to show the letter P and the word panda. Okay, so again, I didn't buy anything for this. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you are thinking of applying to VIPKID or to GogoKid or any other online ESL teaching position, keep in mind that you do not need to go to the store and buy a whole bunch of stuff to prep just for the interview, because you don't need it. You want to be creative. You want to get yourself in that kind of like mindset where you know you can do this on your own, and you don't want to have to invest anything to do it. Okay, so know that those were my basic props. I really had nothing else. For the props, I had this panda. I made my flashcards by hand using a sheet of paper, and I had a dry erase pocket and a dry erase marker. That's it. So that is what I started with when I first interviewed for VIPKID. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about what different kinds of props you can have in the classroom. There are 3 different kinds of props you can have in the classroom: 2D, 3D, and digital. So the 2D props are anything like this. Flat paper. 2D props can be flashcards. They can be printed images. These are 2D props. I Google the pictures online, I print them out in a PowerPoint, cut, laminate, and I am done and ready to go. Now we go over 3D props. 3D props are like this. They're just that. they're 3D. Okay, so you can have food. I rarely use 3D props because I don't have them. My son doesn't have a lot of toys for me to use in the lessons, and what he does have, I already use, the food. But 3D props are anything that are 3D form. I have animals, stuffed animals. These are considered 3D props. And anything else that you can really find in the classroom, in around your house or in your classroom that is not paper. So you can use that as well. You don't need to, it is not necessary. So don't think that just because you don't have them, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You don't need them. You just need to have a variety of different props. And the third type of prop is digital. Digital prop means you're using it on a tablet, digital, you're using it on a phone, or some teachers even go as far as using software, ManyCam or TwistCam, depending on the computer that you use. So those props are digital, GIFs, images online, little videos, things like that. So you can do that as well. These I find to be the easiest to use and easiest to prep for. You can use a variety of different props in the classroom. You don't need to have each one. You're not specified to having, you have to have a 3D, you have to have 2D, you have to have digital. No, you can use the variety of props that you are interested in using in the classroom. You can use all digital if you want one day, then you can use 2D and digital another day, 2D and 3D another day. The only thing I always recommend is that you use a variety. You do not use the same type of prop every single class with your student, because your students are going to get bored. They're not going to be interested in anymore. So you need to keep them interested. Remember, you are not with them. You are over a camera. So you need to keep their attention. And the best way to do that is to vary the types of props that you use in the classroom. Now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I use the props in the classroom. So I did touch on how I make my 2D props. Basically, I use PowerPoint. I Google an online image. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me if it's copywritten or not, because I am using it for myself. I'm not selling it. I'm not using it for any type of commercial purpose. So I just get the image, I print it, cut it out, I laminate. I didn't laminate before. You don't have to, it's not necessary. Sometimes it kind of sucks because the glare hits the laminate. So other teachers use matte type of laminate. That's how I make my 2D props. My 2D props, they're my go-tos. I use them all the time. I always have at least one type of 2D prop in the classroom, be it a flashcard, which I highly recommend investing in. And by investing, I mean going to the Dollar Tree and buying a stack of flashcards. These are the most used 2D props that I use in every single class. So if you want to invest a little, make sure that you do that. The 3D props, I just tend to use whatever my son has, if he has any. Food is the best, I think, I have found. So if you are going to invest in 3D props, go for food. You can use it for everything. You can use it for rewards. You can use it during lessons for props. So there's a variety of uses to that. Little animals, other type of 3D props I don't have yet. I would love to, but I don't. I don't foresee spending so much money on that. You don't need to do that. Stuffed animals are also a great 3D prop. And then finally, digital. I really wanted to talk to you guys about digital props. So digital props, for me, the best way to do it is to use Jiffy. So I downloaded the Jiffy app. If you haven't seen what the Jiffy app looks like, it looks like this. So I downloaded the Jiffy app, and what I do before a lesson is I'll go over what the vocabulary words I'm going to be covering. And I am going to search that on Jiffy. Please make sure that if you are doing this, you are looking at the GIF entirely. You want to make sure that there is nothing offensive. You want to make sure that there's nothing inappropriate. So keep that in mind. Don't just click on the first one you see, because there are a lot of inappropriate things on Jiffy. But anyways, I use Jiffy usually when I'm either in a time constraint and I don't have time to prep the night before. I use Jiffy if I want to give my student a little bit of variety. I tend to use Jiffy when I want some comedy for the classroom, because using just 2D props of an elephant can get boring. So what I'll do is I'll teach elephant or whatever it is that I need to teach. And my GIF will be something like this. Something funny. So that is my goal for Jiffy. When it's not, oh, I didn't have time to prep the night before, I need to get my props. No, usually I use it as like a comical relief in the class because these kids want to laugh. They've been in school all day long. They just got home and they just want to have fun while they learn English. So I highly recommend Jiffy. If you haven't used it, it's a great way to add variety to your classroom. Another way that I use digital props is with an app. Now, this is only for Apple. So I am sorry ahead of time if you don't have Apple. Don't go out and get an iPad. Don't go out and get an iPhone just for this, because again, this app isn't free either. But if you do have Apple and you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend the Stars to Apples app. This is what it looks like. It is $10 in the App Store, but it is a great investment at $10. So what the Stars to Apples app looks like is it gives you the opportunity to have rewards digitally. I will be making a rewards video, so I'm not going to go into the rewards right now, but they also have a props section, and they have props for pretty much every lesson. They've got colors, they've got emotions, they've got body parts, food, everything you possibly need. And the best part about it is that you can add your own props. Okay, so you don't even need to stick to just what they have here. If you find a digital prop online that you like, you can save it, and it's organized already in a library. So if you are interested in using digital, I highly recommend the Stars to Apples app. My best and most useful props have got to be my flashcards, my alphabet flashcards. These I use for everything. I use for introducing letters. I use for introducing certain items, because there are certain vocabulary words that I can find the pictures. Like, for example, there's apple, and here you can see the picture of the apple and you have the word of the apple. These flashcards I got at the Dollar Tree. They are $1. They are the best investment and the most used prop that I use throughout my lessons. In addition to that, I also use this whiteboard paddle. This thing is amazing. Also, at the Dollar Tree, it is $1. I use this for everything from rewards to props. I use it for phonics. I use it for vocabulary. I use it for letter names. I use it for the math sections. This is so absolutely useful. If you want to get by teaching online with minimal items, minimal props, the two props that I recommend you have in the classroom are flashcards and the whiteboard, because these you will use every single lesson. Those are my most used props. They're the ones that I think are necessary in the classroom. Now, if you have the opportunity, my favorite way to use props is digital. I love to do digital props. I think it's hilarious. The kids love it. They have so much fun with it. And it adds something different. I don't have ManyCam. I don't have TwistCam. Do I want to get ManyCam? Yes, I haven't been able to do that. The best part about that is it adds the digital props to your screen on the webs, like while you're teaching in the lesson. So I am looking forward to getting that soon whenever I upgrade my computer. But for now, I'm sticking to my iPad, and I know a ton of teachers who use their phones. So you can do that, okay? Don't think that it's too small. You bring it up to the screen and it is perfect. All right, so those are my favorite and most used props in the classroom. And the whiteboard and the flashcards are the two most necessary props in the classroom. And finally, I did want to talk to you guys about how I store my props. So this is the way I store the majority of my props, because I do have a few 3D props that don't fit, but the majority of my 2D props and my 3D props are organized in a specific way. I haven't labeled them yet, so bear with me as I explain them to you. So these drawer units, you will see they are underneath my desk. Okay, so I did not buy these for my classroom. These were purchased for my brick and mortar classroom 2 years ago. I got them at Walmart. They're very cheap. I will put up a similar brand on here so you can see how much they are and if you are interested in getting them. So the way I organized this was I have my rewards here. So I'll go over rewards later on, but these are my food rewards and these are other types of rewards. So I have that. And then in each one of these drawers, I separated the types of props. So here you can see it's all animals, and I do have my 3D props here. So I have these, and then I've got body parts, objects. Objects also includes cars and transportation type of things. I've got emotions and places, farm, classroom, house, anything like that. That's great for the neighborhood unit. So then here I've got people. So I have the characters from VIPKID and GogoKid, as well as when we cover family, mom, dad, brother, sister, things like that. I've got food, so you can see that I have my 3D props mixed in here as well. Also, you can have these types of props. So you can have like task cards, or you can have things like this. Okay, so you have those two options as well. I like to use different kinds. Here I have my verbs, whenever we're covering verbs. And the last one down here is any other type of grammar things that we're covering or any other extras. So like colors, we have sight words in here sometimes. So that I have all lumped up in there. When I prep for my classes, I prep using this card here. I did not purchase this again for my classroom. This was purchased for my brick and mortar classroom. This top part here houses my flashcards and my letters. So this always stays the same. Basically, the rest of these are prepped for my classes. So I normally have 4 classes for Monday through Friday. So I will go the night before and I will put in all the props that I will be using for each specific lesson. So that is an idea. If you have something like this, that is one way that you can store your props so you're prepped for the lessons and ready to go. That's it, guys. You know now how I started with my online ESL interview. I started with the basics. You don't need much more than handwritten flashcards, drawn pictures, whatever it is, printed props. You don't really even need a whiteboard. Do I recommend it? Yes, go to the Dollar Tree, but it's not needed. You know what my most favorite props are to use? You know the 3 different kinds of props that there are, 2D, 3D, and digital. And you know what the most necessary props I believe are to be used in the classroom. Now, if you have any questions about anything, please leave it in the comments below and I'll go ahead and answer for you. Please remember, subscribe, hit the like button if you like this video and you thought it was useful to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.